welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if it's not your first time here, thanks for coming back. So today, I have kind of a fun, different type of video for you. I literally just saw Annette's Makeup Corner do a video on a bunch of palettes. She chose randomly 10 palettes from her collection and went through each one and said if they went missing, would she repurchase those palettes again? And I thought that's a really good idea for a video. So I'm gonna link her channel as well as her video down below because she does get the credit for this one. But I thought I would do a little twist on it. I'm actually going to have my boyfriend pick the palettes because I'm thinking, how can I unbiasedly just pick palettes from my collection? I want it to be so random and he has no clue about my preferences or anything like that. So he just randomly picked 8 palettes. I did 8 instead of 10. Just to save some time, because I could go on and on and on about eyeshadows. So you are going to see him pick out the 8 palettes. If you are not interested in that and you want to just get right to the video, I'm going to put a timestamp down below. But if you want to enjoy some eye candy, go ahead and check out my boyfriend picking out 8 palettes from my collection randomly. If you enjoy eyeshadow content, I would totally suggest that you subscribe to my channel because I do upload a lot of videos having to do with eyeshadows because they are my favorite part of my makeup routine. And if you enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot when you do that. And yeah, we're just gonna get right to the picking of the palettes. Here we go. Okay, Ben, so we are here in the office / filming room / closet. Ben is gonna pick out 8 palettes from all these palettes here. These are all the palettes that I have that I've used before. I have this bin up here of things I haven't used yet. But he's gonna pick he's gonna pick 8 palettes at random. So go ahead.
4 and 4.
Yes,
right?
please. Yes.
Right. I like how that's like a hard cover.
Uh-huh.
I like the moon. Oh, but I have to look at the colors, right? I can't judge just based on the outside, right?
However you want.
What's this, Patrick Ta?
No, it's not Patrick Ta. Okay, you're thinking about that one.
This is pick number 1.
Okay, that's pick number 1. Okay, go ahead and
Rustic
just put it on the
Glam.
shelf or something, whatever you want.
Okay.
Yep.
I see. I'll choose this one because of the pictures.
Okay. Urban Decay Born to Run.
Mm-hmm. Anastasia. You don't have any Fenty in here?
I don't own any Fenty Beauty eyeshadow palettes at all.
Soft Glam Anastasia. I like
The velvety cover, isn't it nice? Yeah.
and stuff. Alyssa Edwards. Is this back rolls?
Back rolls, yeah.
Back rolls.
Back rolls.
All right, we'll pick.
We'll pick Alyssa Edwards. Okay.
Okay, I would pick Patrick Ta, but I know you would repurchase it because I know he's got the thigh.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make.
So
it
you
a
already
little
know
bit-
the answer to that one.
Yeah. Shout out to Sir, his dog.
Yeah, his dog is really cute. That one's broken. Just be careful.
Oh shit.
Just put it back.
Okay, you've got some other small ones. There's a lot.
I know. Trust me, I know.
Dirty Martini. That's cool. I'll pick Moira because that's my niece's name.
Okay. All right, so that's the 4 from the first basket. And now we're gonna pick 4 from the second basket over here.
Jaclyn Hill. Okay. You guys think I don't know about this beauty stuff? Wet n Wild, nice. So I feel like this is more of just like a collector's item.
Mm-hmm. Why do you say that?
I remember your video, you weren't... Nah, I don't remember what you said about
Yeah, you didn't watch the video.
I'll go with that one. Elf.
Elf and Chipotle, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Elf. Rachel needs to get on that PR list, okay? Is it? That's cool. Who's Christy?
Raw Beauty Christy. She's a YouTuber.
I'll go with this one.
Okay.
I like the cover.
All right.
And I think you'd...
The cover is very you, babe.
Whatever.
Well, it is. With the mushrooms in the forest. Matches your tattoo, the trees. Yeah. But I haven't used it yet.
Okay, either this Medusa one. I don't really like those colors. Maybe it's...
Did you like my makeup last night?
Yeah.
I was wearing that palette.
I like this cover. I love Sari.
Sarah E. She's a
Sarah E.
YouTuber.
Yeah, we'll go with this one. Is that...
No, you need one more.
Oh, one more. Okay. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do the Juicy Jazz.
Okay. All YouTuber collabs.
Gotta show appreciation to the YouTubers.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you for choosing the palettes for me. You did a really good job.
Thank you. Hope you guys enjoy the video.
Okay, so he picked some really interesting picks. I'm really glad that he did it and not me because I actually had to really think about these ones. Well, some of them I don't have to think about. Some of them I know whether or not I would keep them or not. So I'm going to go in the order of how he picked them. So the first one that he picked was the Rustic Glam palette from Dominique Cosmetics. I already know my answer to this without even thinking about it. I would not repurchase this palette. By the way, a lot of these are limited edition, so I'm pretending like they're not limited edition. I'm pretending like I could actually repurchase them. I believe this one is discontinued and you can't buy it anymore, but I'm pretending like hypothetically I could if I needed to. First of all, the packaging is really beautiful. I mean, the quality of the packaging on her palettes is really nice. I own, I think, 4 of her palettes. This is my least favorite of the 4. So the color story on this, it's very spring, it's very summer. It's very like festival. I feel like I should be in a boho little outfit. I don't know. Maybe it's the packaging. I don't know. The quality of these shadows is not good. Both the mattes and the shimmers. Like this blue, it swatches really nice on the finger, but the color payoff, and actually it swatches pretty nice on my hand, but the color payoff on the eyes, the metallics are quite crumbly. In my opinion, like especially that purple one. Yeah, they're just, the quality of these shadows is not great. And then the other thing is I have a really hard time looking at this palette and coming up with ideas for looks. Every time I go to this, I tend to just stay with the neutrals. I don't really ever feel the need to try these ones. I remember this green color, not very pigmented. So I don't know. I don't love the color story and I don't love the quality of the shadows, so I would not repurchase this one. So there's the answer to that. Okay, and then the next palette, again, a really interesting choice, the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. So I own a few Urban Decay palettes. I'm not a huge Urban Decay fan. I don't own, some people, own a ton of their palettes. I really only own a couple of their palettes. I do really like the quality of these shadows, but once again, I don't really find myself being drawn to this palette. Every time I use it, again, I tend to stick to more of the neutrals. It's not like super inspiring to me. I thought I was going to like it a lot more than I actually do, but it is a nice palette. The quality is nice of these shadows. I will say that. It just has a lot of really dark metallics, which isn't my favorite thing. And overall, there's a lot more metallics than mattes. So, considering this is like over, I think it must be over $40, maybe even over $50, I probably would not repurchase this either. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't repurchase it. It's not a necessary palette in my collection, and I have these colors in other palettes. Okay, and then the next palette that he chose was the Alyssa Edwards and Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Okay, so I have mentioned this palette on my channel several times now, really, many times. I bought this palette because I'm a huge Alyssa Edwards fan, and I love Anastasia's eyeshadow formula. It is one of my most favorite eyeshadow formulas that exist. With that being said, this is my least favorite Anastasia palette that I own, that I've tried. The color story is just not for me. Like, I don't go for these super, super bright colors typically. And the quality of these shadows, in my opinion, is not as good as the other Anastasia palettes that I own. I love it and I keep it around because I love Alyssa Edwards and I bought it to support her. But I probably would not repurchase this if it went missing from my collection. It's a keepsake item for me. I don't regret the purchase, but I don't really use this palette. I've used it. I can count probably on one hand how many times I've used it. So I would not repurchase it. But I keep it because I love Alyssa Edwards. Okay, and then the fourth palette that he chose is the Moira A Dash of Gold palette. Now I have to admit, I have only used this palette maybe twice. I have not used it enough, really. The quality was okay from what I remember. It wasn't anything astounding and amazing. It is a neutral palette with a little bit of a twist with a couple of kind of fun. This is a duochrome here, sparkles. It shifts from like pink to bronze. Has a lot of dark mattes, which I actually really, really love having light to dark in terms of mattes with just a few metallics in there. Would I repurchase this? No, I would not repurchase this just because it is just a basic neutral palette. And I don't remember it really blowing my socks off or anything like that. I much prefer some other neutral palettes that I own, so no, I wouldn't repurchase it. So far, you know, haven't gotten any ones that I would repurchase, so. Now I have to admit, I got this as a gift, so I don't actually know the price point on this. And in my opinion, the price of the palette really does have a lot to do with whether or not I would repurchase it, because you know, if a palette is $5 or $55, that does have some weight in the repurchasing factor. I hope that makes sense. So I don't know the price point of this. I have a feeling it's more of like a mid-range, like around $20, $25 for this. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. I'll look it up and I'll pop it up on the screen. But just based on that thought, these weren't impressive enough for me to really repurchase. So those first four palettes, that basket that I had him choose from are my high-end and mid-priced palettes. And then the second basket is the more affordable / drugstore palettes. So we're gonna get to those next. So the first one is the e.l.f. and Chipotle collab. Obviously this is not available anymore because it was limited edition, but I would 100% repurchase this. It is one of my favorite palettes that I have, probably top 10 favorite palettes in my collection. I absolutely love this palette. I thought it was super gimmicky when it first came out. Obviously, I still bought it anyway. I fell for the gimmick because I love Chipotle.
Oh my God, I love Chipotle.
And I love the colors, these earthy browns, greens, purples, reds, like totally up my alley. The quality of these shadows is really top notch, really, really, really top notch. Both the mattes and the metallics. This is in my opinion, some of e.l.f.'s best quality shadows. By far, this is the best e.l.f. palette that I've tried. People like freak out about their bite-sized palettes. I mean, I don't think they're all that amazing, but this one, amazing. So yes, I would 1,000,000% repurchase this Chipotle palette. I should pull this out and use it actually again. I haven't used it in a really long time. The next one is the At Forest Sight palette, the Raw Beauty Christie and ColourPop collab. So honestly, again, I have to admit, I have really only used this a handful of times. But in contrast to the Moira palette, I do remember being very impressed with the quality of these shadows. The color story for me is perfect. I love matte shadows, and I love when palettes have more mattes than shimmers. I just feel like I can create more different looks, and I can pull in different shimmers from different palettes, or a super shock shadow, or I can just do an all matte look. I really was impressed with the quality of this, the color story, the packaging, everything. So yes, I would repurchase this. Definitely would repurchase this one. Okay, and then he chose for the seventh palette, the Through My Eyes palette, the I Love Sarah E and ColourPop collab. So he picked a lot of collabs. I have a lot of collab palettes though. So this palette, again, I bought this pretty much like when it first launched, I don't know, 4 years ago, something like that. This is getting pretty old. It is no longer available, of course. But this palette, again, color story wise, I think is just gorgeous. Super pretty, like jewel tones, but also some neutrals. Very spring, very summer. The quality of these shadows is very, very good. So unlike the Dominique Cosmetics one, it is a summery, bright, but also wearable, everyday, but good quality shadows. I've gotten a lot of use out of this one. I've used this many, many times, and I've enjoyed all the looks I've made with this palette, so I would repurchase this one again. I feel like it is one of the more interesting color stories that I've seen from ColourPop. Has really nice packaging with a really big mirror. It feels very high quality packaging wise. So yes, I would repurchase this one. And then last but not least, we have this little palette from Milani. This is the Like a Dream palette, and this was in collaboration with Juicy Jazz and Milani, so another collaboration. This one I picked up right around the end of last year, so maybe 3 months ago, something like that. She did release this one as well as like a more neutral palette. These are some of the better shadows that I've tried from the drugstore, and these are definitely the best eyeshadows I've tried from Milani. They're very good, actually, especially for purples. You never know with purples. Sometimes they can get really patchy. These are really wonderful. I love that it's really compact, and it is a monochromatic palette, which is not like my most favorite thing, but I appreciate that it's a small monochromatic palette, that it's not like a 12-pan palette or bigger that's monochromatic. This is really nice if you just want to spend not a lot of money and be able to have a purple palette. So I really like this. I would repurchase it. And I also love Juicy Jazz. I love her. So I would love to keep supporting her. And so that was a big reason why I did buy this as well. So I would repurchase this. I like it. I think it's really good quality shadows. I like this better than the newest Milani palette that came out, the Gilded Flora. These shadows are way more pigmented. So I really like this and I would repurchase it. So that's it. It's really interesting that the 4 high-end palettes I would not repurchase and the 4 affordable drugstore palettes I would repurchase. It just kind of worked out that way. I hope you enjoyed this video, just something fun and different. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot when you do that. And I would also love for you to subscribe before you leave. I'm going to link Annette's makeup corner down below. She is the person that I saw do this video, and that's how I got the idea. I will link her channel as well as her video down below. Go check her out if you don't already know who she is. I'm sure you do. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye.